All right, guys. So let's keep this pretty simple. Y'all, can we focus, please? Good morning. Are we doing okay today? I'm glad. So we're going to review some things. I'm going to just write that this is our notes because I'm seeing that a lot of people are getting confused, their notes and their assignment. So we're going to review first the distributive property, then we're going to start throwing some fractions at you. That did not focus very well at all. For some reason it can focus on a pen but not the paper. Okay, if I gave you this, what would we do? Diego, what's my first step? Distribute, exactly. Just multiply and multiply. Marvin, what's 8 times 6x? 48. 48 what?
48.
Good. Raul, 8 times negative 7.
8 times negative 7. Negative 52.
Mm-hmm. Jacob, what's my next step? It's kind of a trick question. Is there a next step? Come in. Just teasing. All right, guys, there's no next step because those are like term. Those are not like terms, so you can't put them together. That's it. You are done. That's the easiest kind of distributive property. What if we give you something a little bit more complicated? Yeah, those are R's. Omar, can you tell me my first step? Or Oscar, sorry. Oscar, can you tell me my first step? Tell me what to do. What 2 things are we going to multiply first?
The 8 and...
Which 8?
Oh, the 8R
Good.
with the 6R.
Good. What's 8R times 6R? Anybody?
48R.
It's 64. Oh, I thought it was 8 times 8, my bad.
8R is almost right. We need one more thing. Thank you. It needs to be squared. Because remember, when we have, this is like, you can think of this as 8 times 6 and R times R. Do you remember how yesterday there were 2 R's, so it becomes an R squared?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lissandro, what's my next step?
Oh, you multiply 8R with 4.
Which is?
32R.
Good. Alvarez, what's my next step?
You combine like terms.
Nope, nope. This one still needs to multiply to both of them. Okay, so help me with this part. Negative 8 times 6R, what is that? We've done it.
48.
Yeah, I was like, we've done it twice. 48, positive or negative? Mm-hmm. And what do we need to put with it? What's still there? R. Jacob, this one. Last step. Well, next step.
Combine like... Oh, wait. We need negative 32.
We do. Jared, next step. Which ones are like terms? Which ones can go together? And what's it make?
It's 8.
Well, I'm doing 32 steps forward and 48 steps backwards.
Okay, alright.
You'd be right if we were adding, but since they're going different directions, we subtract.
Is it 16?
It's not 16. You know what? You're right. It is 16. Negative 16R. Good job. Now this is almost the same, but a lot of people are struggling with it, so I wanted to go over it. Pedro, what's my next step?
Multiply.
Well, what does that squared mean?
Oh, you write it twice, don't you?
Thank you. Write it twice. When you see that squared, write it twice. Coming back around to Diego. Let's go.
4 times 4.
Which is?
60.
Thank you for the squared. I think we're at Marvin. Next step. Which is? 28 what? Thank you. And don't forget there's a plus sign in the middle. Raul. Let's go.
4 times 4 again.
7 times 4R. Okay, which is?
Oh, 7 times 4, 28.
28R. Thank you. Jacob, this one. What do I do? Which two?
7, 7.
Which is? I'll wait. You can grab a calculator. Ask a friend.
49.
Yep. Oscar, what do we do now?
28 and 28.
Which makes?
Hold on. 56.
Mm-hmm. 56 what?
R.
It's really important that you remember that R, because if you forget it, you're going to look and try to put the numbers together and you're going to keep going. Now this is a special one. It's the same exact thing, but I'm going to rock and roll pretty fast on this. Same concept. So we're just going to multiply the first two. 49n squared minus 7n plus 7n minus 1. And I'll dramatically pause so that you guys can write it down.
You have the paper for the inverse functions combination.
Yes, right there.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys. This is the part that's different. It's exactly the same concept, but a lot of times the first time you see this, it messes you up. What happens when I put those two together? They they cancel out. So this is just going to come down. This is called the difference of squares. Because see how 49 squared? I mean, it's like 7 squared, n is squared, and it's like 1 is squared. When you have the same thing here, The only difference is the plus and the minus on the inside. It's going to always cross out the middle term. But most of the time, with students I've worked with in the past, including myself, when I first saw this and it wasn't explained to me that these crossed out, I thought I was doing something wrong because I was missing a middle term. You're doing it right. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, but with a fraction. I already hear you crying. Just take a breath. I'm ready when you're ready. We're still just going to distribute. We're going to multiply and multiply. So it's going to be 7 over 3 times 4 over 3x, 7 over 3 times 1. How do we multiply fractions? What's going to be my numerator? Here. What's going to be my numerator? 7 times 4 is?
28.
So 28 is on the top. The x can go on the top or on the side. It doesn't matter, but it can't go on the bottom. 3 times 3 is? This you can think of as 1 over 1 if you need to. But anything times 1 is just itself. So this is just going to be plus 7 over 3. And you're done. Pretty easy. We're trying to get you guys good at fractions. You with me?
Is that a cube?
That's a cubed. And I think I just made it worse, but it's a cubed. We're going to multiply these, okay? Multiply, multiply. So this is like, tell me what to write down. I'm going to do the x cubed over 3, and what is it going to multiply by first? Right? I'm going to do this like 1x over 2. I'm going to do the x over 3 over 2 again.
Where'd you get the 3 from? Yeah, that's on the first one.
That should be a 2. That was just me making mistakes. Good question. All right, guys. What's my numerator going to be over here? How many x's? We've got 3 here and 1 more here, which is
4.
x to the 4th power, please. What's my denominator going to be?
4.
What's my numerator going to be? Yep, and I don't even have to write the 1. What's my denominator going to be? How comfortable are we with those? Do we need to do a couple more practice?
No, we good.
We good? You ready for the next thing? There's only one more thing. Okay, I'm going to go to the next page. And I'm going to try to write super legibly so you can read everything that I'm doing. Okay, so a lot of times it's going, Okay, a lot of times the question's going to look like this. And it's going to say parentheses around that whole thing. And then it will have a division sign and give you something there. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to rewrite it. And I'm going to show you how I want you to rewrite it.
What's the first installment?
7. B to the 7 plus 16 B to the 6th plus 2B to the 5th, close parenthesis, division sign, 4B cubed. So I want you to break this down and just write it as a fraction. So you're just going to put a fraction bar here, and whatever this is going to come underneath it. So I want you to just move that there. Step 2, you're going to Gcf the numerator. Do you guys know what Gcf means? Greatest common factor. So you cannot cross out this 4 and this 16, or this 4 and this 20, or this 4 and this 2. You have to be able to take the same thing out of all of them. So if I look at just the numerator, so I'm just covering this up for myself. If I'm looking at just the top, what number can I take out of 20, 16, and 2?
What number?
Yeah, what number? Can I take a 2 out of everything?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. So let's do it. So I'm going to put a 2 in the 2 out front. Now also, at the same time, I do this with the variables. See how that has b to the 7, b to the 6, b to the 5? Which one's the smallest? So I'm going to take 5 out of all of them. You with me? I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to pause right there. Instead of taking 5 out, I'm only going to take 3 out because that's the most I could cancel out. You follow me? So I'm only going to take 3 out. Now to figure out this right here, what's going to come, in my head, I'm thinking 20 divided by 2. And I'm thinking 7 take away 3. This is the mental math that I'm doing. I'm thinking 16 divided by 2. I'm thinking 6 take away 3. I'm thinking 2 divided by 2. I'm thinking 5 take away 3. That's the mental math that I'm doing.
Confusing.
It's confusing the first probably 2 or 3 times, but you'll start to get it. You guys are smart. I'm going to leave this alone for now, and I'm going to make this prettier. Now, honestly, most of the time I don't show this work. I do this in my head. So, what's 20 divided by 2?
2.
What's 7 take away 3?
4.
Good. You know, I just thought of a way that might be easier to understand. I'll finish this way with you, and I'll do the next question with you the other way, okay? You can only cross stuff out if it crosses out of every single one. So I can cross out the b cubed and the b cubed, because you see how it was multiplied to all of them? I can cross it out of all of them. Now what about 2 and 4? Can I reduce those at all? Okay, can we change this 4? I'm going to think of this 4 as 2 times 2. Is that okay? And then I'm going to cross this 2 out with one of those 2's. And I write down what's left. Now, this is how it's written half of the time. They can also do this. They can break it up so that each one is over the 2. And then if you can reduce, you do. So for example, what's 10 divided by 2? 5b to the 4th. What's 8 divided by 2? 4b cubed. Now I think if we jump to this step, I think it'll be easier. So let's do another example where we skip that middle step. I think it'll be easier for you. So if I have 30x plus 5x cubed plus 5x squared all over 10x squared. Let's break it into smaller fractions. So let's go 30x over 10x squared. Let's do 5x cubed over 10x squared. Let's do 5x squared over 10x squared. Do you need me to zoom in? Do you need me to back up? Do you need me to pause? Pause, okay. Reminder that Friday you don't have school. I have work, but you don't. Also reminder that next Monday is the last time I can promise to get whatever late work you get turned in, graded before grades are due. And then the week after next week, so not this week, not next week, but in 2 weeks, you're going to have spring break. Get a whole week off. And not.
So we don't have to make up for the days that we missed?
You don't have to make it for last week? No. No. They have enough hours. So the school year is based off of minutes in class. And we have enough minutes in class that we were able to say, no, we don't need those. That was obviously you can't really expect people to come to school when it's dangerous and icy and there's no water and there's no heat. That's not going to happen. Are we ready to go? All right, Let's knock it out. Let's break it down simply here. 30 divided by 10, what is that? Just 3. Okay. What about x and x squared? Do I have more x's on the top or the bottom? I have more on the bottom. How many more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many more? I've got 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. So there's 1 extra on the bottom. Right? Because you subtract the powers. The 5 and the 10. What do we do with those? Divide. What's, okay, if I take this 10 and I think of it as 5 times 2, you with me? Just cross out the 5s. What's left on the what's left on the denominator is a 2. Now what about these? I've got 3 x's on top, and I've got 2 x's in the denominator. So if I cross those out, I've got 1 left in the top. Is this easier? I think this is easier. Okay. What about here? Top or bottom? And we need a placeholder, so it's just a 1. That's it. I definitely think that was easier for you guys. Let's do one more like that. Yeah. And then you will have the time you need. To do any missing work you have. Okay guys, what's my first step? Rewrite it. Make it into however we need 1, 2, 3 fractions. What's our next step? Divide stuff out. What can we reduce here? $12 and $6. What can we do with those? What's left? A 2. So I've got a 2 left in the numerator. Let me come over a little bit. Okay. What about n? And there's 1 n on the bottom. Take them away. What's 3? Take away 1.
2.
So I've got an n squared on top. Do I have anything on the denominator? If I really wanted to, I could put a 1, but I don't need to. What do I do with these 6's? See, we subtract the powers. What about here? Raul or Marvin? Help me out on this one. The n's cross out. So guys, we don't even have a fraction left on this one. That would be it. You guys have done really, really well.